so in that case, you guys, let me just go back to the main map here.
Boy.
And what I'll do now is I will reveal where the keep is relative to here, because the boy is pretty much guiding you directly to it. So it's over there.
It's over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
it's
just.
over
Yeah, I need to grab you. I need to drag you to the map. Sorry. There you go.
there.
You should be able to see now.
Yes, we can.
Well, to be fair, if I'm showing the wrong screen.
It's still hidden from me.
Where's this finger?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I just revealed the path. So, right. So bear in mind, you now have a couple of NPCs with you, which are coughing and a young child. So, bear in mind that you are still hearing cacophonous cries around you, but you've kind of moved out of the initial area, so you don't know whether more of those creatures are on top of you. But I will say that you avoided them.
Hey.
Okay, so I would probably say, just for the sake of time, each of you roll a stealth check, and I will take the average.
Hey, what check?
Stealth check. Okay, so let me see who. So that was 11 for Delamain, 2 for that, 16 for that, 9 for that. Marlow needs to roll 1 as well.
What kind of average are you using?
What was that, sorry?
What kind of average are you using?
So I was going to add all the scores together and then divide by the number of players who rolled.
Alright then.
Am I being a dum-dum? There's more than one way to calculate average?
Yeah.
I thought
Mean,
we were
mode,
Yes.
median.
Oh,
Mean, mode, medium, range.
Okay, just.
Don't you remember maths?
Mass.
none of that, no.
Right, okay, so you literally just about beat it. So, guys, as you get to, and gal, get to this point here where you're standing at the moment, you can see that, unfortunately for you, there is quite a lot of activity outside of the keep front door. Nothing has seen you yet, although I'd probably have to move you over to a different map, but there are quite a lot of those guys with the headdresses, more ambush drakes, kobolds, and some of those guards. They're kind of like just sitting facing the keep at the moment. They seem to be distracted by something, but if you were to move in their general direction, you would most definitely be spotted, unless you proceed with a lot of caution.
I want to whisper
Turning-
to the boy, is there any other way in?
The boy shakes his head, although then the father chimes in after coughing for a few moments. We could probably use the Sully port. Sorry, the smoke's getting to my head. The old tunnel, it's located a little ways from here. He kind of like, he describes a location which is about here. So you could potentially try and sneak past these guys, although if you don't pass the stealth roll, you will be attacked by something, or you can attempt to go back on yourself, but you'll probably have to make a couple more rolls in order to get to the location that they specified.
I'll look to everyone. Back to the river, or do we go straight through?
Try back to the river. We have people with us who are injured. We don't need to take them into a situation with this many enemies.
Okay, very good. So you guys are going to sort of move out that way. So let me just go.
Specifically on the away from the streets, down the sides of the houses, or down
Yep.
the backs of the houses.
Yep, that is absolutely fine. So I would probably say, considering that you're staying off the streets, going to the side of the houses, everyone roll a stealth check once again, but this time with advantage.
15 for me.
So
17.
A 9
Ten.
from me.
sorry, let me just start up. So
Actually, no, I'll redo that. Sorry, that's just gonna be a flat roll, isn't it?
yeah,
Instead of rolling with disadvantage
yeah,
like I normally would.
can you guys just read those off for me, just so I can add them quickly?
17.
So 17 for Gwen, 10 for Zach. What was yours, Arthur?
It always rolls with disadvantage because they're normally set with disadvantage. So it would just be you can either take the first stealth roll I did.
I'll take the first.
Oh.
I'll take the high of the two. So that would be 12 for you. Or
Yes.
yeah, okay. And then what was yours, Elf?
15.
15. Okay, and then I need to roll 1 for Mallow as
Same.
well. Okay, and yeah, Marlowe gets 22. Right, okay, so you guys pass with no problem, I say, so let me just reveal this area over here. So basically you're being taken to where this number 2 is on the map, so let me just go ahead and switch your perspective here.
As we've been moving, have I heard many more cries, by the way?
You've been hearing cries in the street. No one really seems to be out in the open at
I was
the
mean
moment.
specifically of the lizard folk.
Of the lizard folk, actually, I'd probably say make a perception check again because there's quite a lot of background noise. You'd have to probably search for it. 13. Okay, I would probably say on a 13 that you can hear very slight, faint cries from the area that you were in before. They don't appear to be coming towards your position. I think you could probably assume that they perhaps are holding in the area, just checking out what happened for now. But you've made enough. You've kind of given, considering that you passed 2 stealth checks. I won't say that they've managed to pick up your trail or follow you.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so you guys get to this place here. So you come to an old tunnel. It has got sort of a grate over it, and there appears to be a padlock on it. What do you guys do?
I'll look to the father. Do you know where the key is?
The father just I think he just shakes his head.
I put them both down.
I'm sorry. I was expecting it to be open during the attack. I thought they might have opened it to let people through. I'm sorry, I can't help you anymore.
I'm going to try and break the lock off with the butt of my axe.
Before he does that, can I use my frostbite cantrip to like freeze the padlock?
You can most definitely try.
Doesn't really specify that it can do stuff like that.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt here.
Alright, I'll do that. I'll just walk up and like hold the padlock, freeze it up, and then give Zach the nod.
Okay, so I would say
See
that
if that made it easier.
I would say that you freezing the lock effectively gives Zach advantage on this roll. So I would probably say this is going to be a strength check, Zach.
Okay.
Actually, you know,
Sorry, I rolled for me.
it's okay. I suppose either works really. So, you swing at the lock. On advantage, you roll pretty high, so I would say that you managed to break it. Okay,
Okay.
so
Open the gates
So I've got
and
key here.
immediately make our way in.
yeah, I would say that the grate opens, and let me just change the map once again because you are going through a couple of different areas here at the moment. So,
Specifically, last person in closes the grate as well.
I'm just going to make a couple of changes to this map because this is not the way you were actually supposed to get in here. I don't mind telling you that because that'll probably mind just soon. So let me just I'll just reveal this for you. It's pretty short, so you can basically see all the way to the end. I didn't put you guys in any particular order, so who went in first?
I would say I probably would have.
Yeah, let me just put you at the front. Okay, so do you guys
I'll
just...
be at the back. I'll
You
take the
guys...
back.
Alright. So you guys just proceed down the tunnel?
Clothing were great. Is there any light?
Only that from which you've kind of got inside. But I would say that the natural light from outside is, although it is probably fairly dark, sans the fire.
In that case,
So
I'm
see
going
good
to
in
use-
dark.
Yeah, I'd probably.
to produce flame and have the light in my hand. Just hold it to see. Lasts
Yeah,
for 10 minutes.
yeah, awesome. You guys, does anyone here have dark vision, by the way?
Yes,
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. So
I think if I'm can I'm going to be the last one in.
Mhm.
How did the lock break?
So
How
essentially,
badly is it broken?
you basically Zark removed the lock completely. You essentially froze the part of the lock that sort of like went over. He just basically like just snapped, sort of like the side. Like you couldn't refix the lock, basically.
I couldn't refix it.
You couldn't refix it. No.
Okay.
I mean, he did swing at it with a great axe after you froze
Do
it, so I would say
you
it was
bring to my
damage.
attention now?
I wanted to hope to use my mending cantrip to put the lock back on.
You could.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
It says repairs a single break or tear in an
Yeah.
object.
I mean, I'd say that.
That's why I was asking how badly it is.
Oh no, so like he only made the one attack against it, so he just made damage of it. Yeah, I'd say you could use mending to repair it.
Okay, I want to close the grate, put the lock back round, and cast mending on it.
Yep.
Lock it up again.
Yep, and you can absolutely do that.
So I guess I'll be at the back for that purpose, if it matters.
Okay, so anyone with dark vision, you can basically see to the end of this area without. Yeah, I'd probably
Is there
say.
any light coming from the end of it?
No.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to move up.
Since I have dark vision as well, I'll be behind him.
Okay, so you guys can move all the way to the end without incidents. So, Arthur, since you're going to be getting there first, you see a ladder ahead of you.
Okay.
And a circular grate at the top.
Like a drain grate?
Yeah, I'd describe it like that.
Okay. I'll start to go up the ladder and I'll listen. See if I can hear anything.
Okay. Probably make a perception check. You don't hear diddly squat, unfortunately, my friend.
Okie dokie. Given I don't hear anything, I'm going to ease the grate open.
As you try to sort of like push on the grate to ease it open, you feel quite a lot of resistance. You're not able to move it just easily. You would have to make a strength check.
I would like to look to Zark. Want to put those muscles to some use? I'll give you a hand.
Is there enough room on the ladder for us both to do that?
If you wanted to go by physical, you could stand on the edges.
It is a pretty small narrow tunnel. I would probably say either you or Zark have to do it. I mean, obviously Zark
Could
would
he
be
do
the
it, and
one
could I be underneath him, and could I try to lift him up on the ladder
to
to give him advantage?
I'm
How
must be
tall
on.
are you again?
More like the other way.
I have to.
Yeah.
You know what? I would probably say that Zark would be able to exert enough strength with his muscles to be able to help you, Arthur. But yeah, so Zark would have to be the one pushing. Zark would probably just crush you if you tried that.
Alright, I'll just let Zark do it then, fine. No shenanigans.
Okay, make your strength check with advantage, Zark.
Well,
Oh.
100 from the previous fight.
Okay, so unfortunately that isn't enough. You do hear some movement, but it isn't enough to make it give. However, as this happens, Arthur... Actually, no, Zark's nearer. Make a perception check. Okay, even with a 13, I would say that as you try to move it, you hear some it sounds really muffled from what you are, but you hear what you suspect are footsteps come towards you, or come towards the grate.
I whisper. So cute
Gwen?
footsteps. So I think they know you're here.
Right. Okay.
I would like to ask back towards the husband. Would this be right in the tower here, or are we outside of it?
No, we're definitely we're definitely in the tower here, but I thought they may have used this tunnel. It's possible that they're using it as this place as a storage space. There might be some cargo on top of it.
Will immediately shout up, "Is someone up there?"
Okay, so if I what check would that be for them to hear you? I don't really know if there is a check.
It'd
for
probably be passive perception,
that.
Performance?
because they're not specifically trying to hear unless they came in response to the noise
They
of
were
things being moved.
I would probably say you heard footsteps coming towards you, so you won't hear exactly what the response is, but you do hear a muffled voice seemingly reply back to you. A few moments later, you hear some movement from atop the grate. And then, probably about 30 seconds later, the grate opens and you see two guards stood over the top with you, with their spears drawn towards you. And
I like to hold up one of my hands.
Are these?
Not a threat.
Do you see them as town guards or just?
have you guys moved up at this point, by the way? Sort of Delamain, Gwen.
Let's just say I have, because I don't have control of my character as usual.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it's one of these maps.
Yeah, about that.
Well, Marlo is the other one.
Sorry.
I was
Da-da-da,
taking the
da-da-da.
rear, so waiting for them to move.
Okay, so yeah, I'd say that Marla will approach with Gwen when they hear this. Let me just give you control here, Elf. There you go.
Thanks.
Eventually, we'll get to a map where you actually have control of your token.
Sorry, I know it's my fault.
Right. Okay. So Arthur, you were saying you were holding up your hand and saying not a threat.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I would probably say roll. Actually, I would say roll yeah, just roll persuasion.
Yes.
For they don't really like the cut of your jib, and they just motion their spears aggressively, prompting you to come up and to bring anyone else down there with you.
I do so, but I make sure to make a point of keeping my hands raised whenever I can.
Yeah, they're not really giving you much trouble. I think sort of this is just more of a precaution. So, you guys will then, I assume you are going to move up the ladder. So now, you guys are over here. I would say, given where you approached, you are led out from this area here. Just say that these two guards are with you. So these two guards are just going to march you to the center of the keep, and one is going to ask you, "What's your business here?"
Are the civilians still with us?
Oh yeah, they are. I just don't have tokens for them on this map.
Okay.
We were
So-
told this was going to be safe by these. I nod to the civilians.
So as you say that, one of them looks over. Now they can kind of see him in a better light, and they do recognize the husband. Go, Mr. Jameson. My apologies. Are you okay? Where's? He kind of just seems a little bit flustered. He wasn't really expecting to see anyone else. Wait here. I'll go and get Governor Nighthill. He'll want to know how you are. And one of the guards kind of go up the stairs here, and probably after about a minute or so, the guard comes back with a older-looking gentleman in a long, flowing blue robe. He's got a bandage on his head, and his arm is in a sling. So the guard introduces this person as Governor Nighthill. So Governor Nighthill, immediately amongst next, seeing this man who they called Mr. Jameson, will say, "James, by the gods, you're right. How did you survive the attack in town? I didn't think that any civilians have managed to really sort of make it into here after the initial wave." Mr. Jameson, still stifling a cough, motions to the 5 of you guys and just go, "Yes, Bernard. These young adventurers saved me, Jenny and John. We owe them our lives. I apologize. I told them about the old tunnel. It didn't seem safe to approach by conventional means. I apologize if I startled any of you looking towards the other guards." And Governor Nihil says, "James, think nothing of it." And Nihil then turns to the 5 of you. "I can't say that I recognize any of you. I assume you're from out of town."
Yes,
Yeah.
we're not from around here.
No, we were escorting a caravan for a delivery for you, actually.
"Ah, I see. You must be associates of Nub. Well, I'm not quite sure what has found you, how you found your way to here, but..." And he kind of like just looks around at the general area. "You can, I would say that you've all got a lot more than you've bargained for here. But I have to say that I am most grateful for you saving Mr. Jameson's life here. He's an old childhood friend of mine. I must admit, when the guards brought you up, I was certain that the invaders had managed to finally find a way in. They seem to be hounding us at the front gate."
Is there any reinforcements coming from anywhere else?
"No." Sort of, he then looks up to the sky, and you now notice that this is the location that the blue dragon was circling earlier. And Governor Nighthill continues, "That abominable thing seems to be stifling the efforts of our men. Just being around it for more than a few minutes just seems to create, I don't know, palpable dread.
Yeah.
But I would probably say that most of us have gone over the initial effects of it, but unfortunately by the time that we regained our senses, the keep is surrounded by, well, whatever those things are out there. I also was unconscious for the first 3 hours of the attack. I just asked Sasha to give me some medical aid, and, well, I'm back on my feet, but I'm afraid I can't say I've done very much so far. To be honest, I was actually hoping that something like this might happen. Frankly, the fact of the matter is, we need help."
What is going on here? Why is there a dragon attacking?
I wish I could tell you a more comprehensive explanation, but all I know is that roughly 5 hours ago, that thing appeared overhead and just singed some of the ground around us. It doesn't seem to be wanting to make an attack on the keep. In fact, I would probably say, if I didn't know any better, it didn't seem too interested in us, but we haven't really seen that much of what's going on outside, only the fires. If only could actually get some boots on the ground, we could actually see what's going on here.
Do you know the Karina here?
The what?
The Korean lizard folk.
I can't
They've been
say,
mixing in with kobolds.
I can't say I've ever heard of that race. I mean, I know of lizard folk in general, like the kobolds, but no, that name is new to me. But once again, we haven't really been outside of the keep since the attack started. We haven't really seen any of them amassed outside either.
There's a lot just outside the walls.
As you say
In the
that,
town to the south, to the east and west, we've seen groups of them as well.
damn it, we just don't know enough about what's going on here. Governor Nihil is looking visibly frustrated with his own impotency in this situation. He takes a moment to compose himself and he says, "Look, we need to be able to actually get some idea of what's going on here, and we can't really do much while that thing is still in the sky. If
Are
you...
you asking for our help?
Well, I make no secret of it. I already asked rather outright that we need our help, but I must be honest, I don't really know you. But then, you're the only ones to have actually made it inside since the attack started. And
Either way,
frankly,
it wouldn't matter. We're here at this point, so we're going to help one way or the other.
well, I'm glad to hear it.
Several of us were injured on the way here. Are there any supplies your man might be able to share with us?
Yes, you should be able to take them to see Sasha. She's made up a makeshift medical bay just inside of the barracks. He points over to the right hand side to this building here. As he does so, he motions for the two guards who escorted you up to take the young boy and the three Jamesons into that building. And he then just says to the rest of you, if any of you want to any medical attention, I would recommend that you follow. Sasha is more than capable of healing any ailments that you might have. You can also feel free to rest here for a short time, but I wouldn't recommend staying long. Time is of the essence after all.
I'll make my way up towards the medical doodad.
Same.
Yep, same.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to be staring up at the sky. Is the dragon still around?
Marlo might also want to come.
Yeah, Marlo will come as well. Marlo's just basically just following you guys. He isn't really having much input right now. Right, okay, so guys, before we continue, do we want to end the session here, or do you want to carry on for a bit?
I'm
can do
going
either.
to go on.
You want to go? Okay.
I
So-
normally go to sleep right now, but I'll continue on.
Okay, so in that case, you guys
Yeah.
proceed inside of this building.
Is the dragon still in the sky?
It is. It's just kind
Okay.
of, it's just in a holding formation circling the keep. So, you guys...
Would I
Oh, so go on.
would I recognize what it's doing?
I would probably say, I think given what Governor Nighthill told you, roll a... What would this be actually? Let me just see what check though.
Would it be intelligence if he
I'd say
something that he already knows?
Yeah, intelligence that's something he probably knows. So roll intelligence with advantage, considering the description he gave you.
14.
Yeah, lose
okay.
a brain cell.
I would probably say that considering that Nighthill's description was quite comprehensive, you can surmise that this blue dragon has been using something known as frightful presence, which basically causes any entity that it uses the ability on to cower in fear. It will basically debilitate for a time. So that is essentially what this dragon has been doing the entire time that you guys have been in Green Nest.
So I have no idea as to why it's just circling. It's not attacking outright.
As to why it's circling, you have absolutely no idea. You're only able to tell what it's doing right now. Okay.
Okay.
And is there anything else?
I will. I'll follow him.
Okay, so you guys move into here. So as you enter, you can see a bunch of boxes strewn about. Some open, some slightly ajar. You can tell that this is basically a makeshift medical...
Infirmary.
what was that, sorry?
Infirmary.
Infirmary, yes, thank you. I think I actually described it as an infirmary to someone else. But thank you for reminding me, I'm feeling a bit tired. Right, so you see 6 beds, each with a soldier, lying in it with various different ailments. And you see a woman with a beige dress with green trimmings, and a man in full plate armor talking at the table just in front of you. I'm guessing at this point that the guards also bring in the Jamesons, and they interrupt this conversation and they say, apologies for the intrusion, Sasha, but we have some more patients for you. Sasha turns her attention away from this gentleman on the right and addresses the two guards and just says, oh, well, put them... she motions a few of the soldiers to stand up who aren't quite as injured as the two Jamesons, and they occupy these two beds here. She goes towards one of these cabinets back here, and she pulls out a couple of herbs and provides the two Jamesons with treatment. And after roughly a minute, the coughing stops.
Can I see anything about what kind of herbs she's using?
What would you... Just trying to remember what that be. Would that be survival to identify herbs, I think? I think herbalism kit gives you advantage on identifying herbs, doesn't it?
I'm more looking for if it's something I recognize or if it's something I haven't seen before.
Well, I mean...
What she's using. I mean, I have some knowledge of
Yeah,
it.
that's why I'm saying... That's why I'm saying roll
nature.
with advantage for that.
Okay, so survival with advantage.
Survival with advantage, yes. Right, let me have a look at what you rolled here. Right. Okay, so yeah, with the 22, I think you know exactly what it is. Yeah, I just need to refer to my notes for a moment. To see exactly which herb this was. Okay, so you can see, Gwen, as Sasha is applying this herb to these two, you can tell that the herb she's using is Arlen, which is used to aid in the recovery. Arlen, as in a... In fact, I'll just put it into the Roll20 chat for you. So, this is used to increase the healing of a respiratory illness by quite a significant amount. So once she's finished applying that, she's just kind of like applied the leaf of the Arlen to these wounds. She comes to address the rest of you, and she just simply asks, and who are you then? Addressing the whole party.
Caravan guards, would you believe it or not?
Sorry, Alpha, what did you say?
Caravan guards, would you believe it or not?
Sasha places her hands on her hips and said, oh, frankly, after the day I've had, I've seen far stranger things. Well, you don't look too hurt, but not as hurt as these gentlemen at any rate, but I can patch you lot up quickly if you have got any minor injuries.
We were asked to
Appreciate
go
that.
out again and would prefer to do it with clean bandages. At least clean for now.
Okay, so Sasha will go to the back and look at the cabinets once again, and she will retrieve... I think for this, she actually does have a few minor healing potions on stock. Just considering that your wounds are quite generic and it isn't the core, and you're not really suffering from a particular disease. So I would say that without taking any time, that you guys basically can heal to full with what she gives you. So I'll just go ahead and reset your health. So once she's done that, Sasha will simply say, well, now if there isn't anything else, I am unfortunately rather busy. I just need to get back to tending to these patients. So with that, unless any of you interrupt her, she's going to go back to talking to this gentleman over here. Probably
Just
ask...
going to
Sorry,
say thank you. As she ends her speech, says, thank you.
Okay, as you speak, actually, she takes a little bit more interest to you, and to everyone else aside from Gwen, she sort of like you just hear her speak what appears to be gibberish, but you, Gwen, understand her saying thank you or saying you're welcome. You recognize this
just
language as
smile.
yeah,
I will just smile.
Yeah.
I recognize. I know what.
yeah, you know what just happened. Okay, so in
Yes.
that case, you guys leave the room and go back to the courtyard.
I have done, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I assume the rest of you follow.
Can I can I see what these guys are injured with? Like how they got injured?
How they got injured? Okay. If you want to quickly roll an investigation check on her, which one?
The one I'm standing by, I guess.
The one that you're standing by. Okay. Actually, it'll be a medical check, considering you're trying to see what ailment they have specifically.
18.
18. Okay. You see some burns on this guy's farm, rather severe burns. Roll intelligence, actually, considering the one that you investigated.
7.
Unfortunately, you can only tell that they're severe burns, but nothing else about it.
Interesting. That dragon up there should not be able to breathe fire.
Yep, but that's all you can
Gentlemen,
discern from
we
that.
saw the town on fire. There were several fires set. It doesn't need to have been by the dragon. A goblin can cause a fire.
You're probably correct.
Okay. Do you guys do anything else in here then?
I'm gonna leave.
No, just leave.
Okay. You guys leave the building, and now you are back outside in the courtyard. I just need to drag you over. Right, okay. So as you exit the building, Governor Nighthill is still where he was stood before, and he's waiting to talk to you. Do you approach him?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
We'll generally take a look around at the guards whilst this conversation is going on.
Are you looking at anything in particular, or are you just kind of looking in
Looking
their
at the
direction?
walls to see how sturdy they are, where people are placed, etc.
So I mean, it's basically, as you can see, that the guards are kind of just spread all around the perimeter. They're not really budging too closely, you notice. You don't know whether that is just due to them sort of like to something that might have happened earlier in night, or that there might just not be enough of them to cover the entire area. The two guards, by the way, that escorted the Jamesons in returned to their original positions up here. Do you want to do anything else, Arthur, before we continue?
No.
Okay, so in that case, Governor Nighthill is just kind of like talking aloud so everyone can hear him. My main concern since this attack began has been the welfare of our civilians. The buildings can be replaced, and as much as it pains me, we're probably going to have lost something. I don't really know what the objective is here. But frankly, you five are the only ones at the moment whom I could rely on to undertake this task. I need you to do two things for me. I need you to go back into the town and try to retrieve as many people as you can. I assume that, considering the state that you found the Jamesons in, that there might be more civilians trapped in other buildings around the town. Secondly, I need you to try and bring one of them back alive. We need to know exactly what they're doing here and why. We're not going to be able to form an effective counterattack until we can understand what our enemy actually wants here.
Delman, do you still have the note?
Yes. Yes. I'll produce the note we found on the kobolds.
Okay. Governor Nighthill looks quizzically at the notes. I'm sure that is interesting, but I'm afraid I don't understand the language.
Oh, right, it's in Draconic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'll read it to him. Forget what it said on it.
Okay. I'll just summarize quickly. It's basically just telling of an attack on Greenest. It doesn't provide a time or date. It doesn't really give that much more information on that and what the objective actually is aside to attack it.
Still, I'd like to note that no, I'm going to say to him, we found these on kobolds that attacked our caravan on the way.
What are you showing him, sorry?
I asked Elman to show the note since he had it, but I'm telling him that we found this note on kobolds who attacked our caravan on the way. On the way to town.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I assume the altercation went well. I mean, did anything else happen with the kobolds other than this note?
A minor scouting party, but we dispatched them. No bother.
They weren't a bother to us, but we found these.
Just that you found the notes, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I could probably surmise that the kobolds might be here for looting, but still need to know more definitively if they were just here to. I just can't think why they would attack Greenest. We pose no threat to them. We're a fledgling community. I mean, we've been affluent in the last few years, but
That is exactly why you pose no threat. The kobolds do not pick on the strong. They are small and weak. They pick on those who will not fight back.
just still seems like such a sizable force for this operation now. I want to believe that it is as simple as you say, but I feel like I want to know more.
These notes make me think this might not be one organized group, but several groups called together.
I'm of the same mind, which is why I want to question one of them alive. I can't, as much as I want to take your word at face value, I can't base a strategy on a mere assumption.
We will try our best.
Right.
When Arthur inspected what the guards are doing, they look like they're shown with pikes. Are there any archers on the walls?
Any archers on the walls? Yeah, you can see. Well, they're not actually holding bows and arrows at the moment, but they're kind of like leant against the walls to pick up. So they could switch weapons if need be. But they're kind of just standing there at the moment. Some of them are holding pikes. I know all of them show them holding spears, but some of them are some are looking over, some are holding the bows and arrows, some of them are just like on racks on the walls.
So there would be archers to clear the road if a party came towards the front gate.
Yes, I would say so, yeah. But considering how heavy the resistance has been outside, I don't think anyone has tried yet. Or
you
has
have
tried
a
to go
horn?
away. Are you asking Nighthill this question, or are you asking this fellow over here? Yep, Nighthill will just go up. Yes, one moment. Nighthill will just go up to this area, and he will come back roughly about 30 seconds later, and he will produce a horn and hand it over to you, Arthur.
Okay, I'll take it. If you hear this outside, get your men up on the walls and unleash arrows. It means we're coming in, and we're coming in fast.
So, with that, Nighthill will just ask, how are you intending to leave here?
We can leave by the way we came in.
If
we broke the lock, so it should be easy to get back out.
I don't...
About that, do you have a key to the sewer below?
Nighthill just thinks for just a moment. He's kind of just like thinking over like any other parts of the strategy, and then he just calls to this gentleman over here and just like, Castilian, I believe that you have the key for the old tunnel down there, do you not? So, sort of like this, he's a dwarf, probably about 4 foot tall, red hair, in full plate armor, and he just talks to Arthur and goes, "Ah, yes, of course, of course!" And he just, from his belt, he produces a set of keys and hands them over to Arthur.
Thank you.
The fellow identified as Castillo just says, "Aye, but don't. Just be sure not to lose them."
Yeah, I try not to. Is it a set of keys?
It is a ring of keys, actually. He probably could have just have given you the one, but he just handed you the whole set out of habit. So
I'll attach them to my belt.
yeah. Actually,
I would also like to turn to Governor Nighthill one more time and ask, are there any places other than this fort where people might be gathering, where the civilians might be getting together, if they realize they can't make their way here, but where they might fort up together?
yes, I do believe that there are a couple of locations that they could potentially be holding out at. Governor Nighthill searches his robe and he pulls out a map of Greenest. So when you guys go out next, I'll be revealing the majority of the map to you, but I will just quickly have a look at list of locations. So if anyone else wants to do anything whilst Nighthill is getting the map out, you can do so.
When he's going over these locations, I specifically want to ask him if there are routes that we can take which are going to be basically where we're going to be out the way to get to. Less likely to run into things.
So as Nighthill is unfurling the map and is starting to point out locations, he points to the stream that you guys went along earlier on, and he says, "This location here, it's rather sheltered and it's probably less conspicuous than the roads. I can't really tell what these creatures are, whether they would be patrolling by now. As I say, it's been about 5 hours since the attack started. But I would say in terms of where people might be holding up, he points to a couple of locations on the map. There's a temple over to here. It's it's a simple building, probably about a 40-foot rectangle. It's got stone walls, so it'll probably be fairly defensible, but it just depends if they've got anything that they might be able to use to break down the doors. As we say, we're not sure what the objective of this attack here, whether it is to loot, to conquer, or to subjugate. So I would probably say that this would be one of their best chances to survive. So then he points out a second location. Let me just see. So then he points out what appears to be an old mill, and just goes, "This mill, it's not quite as defensible as the previous location, but it's rather inconspicuous. There's nothing really of value around there. It's quite isolated, so people might be pulling up in there just merely to stay out the way."
I'm thinking of my axe hitting the wall earlier. Can Zork sharpen axe? I say, holding it up to him.
Castilian chimes in. "Ah, yes. Come over here, lad. There's a wheel to grind that on. I can lend you a couple of whetstones if you prefer."
So he's got
Yeah.
an axe to grind.
Ha! Yeah, Castilian lets out a slight chuckle at that. Governor Nighthill looks quite stoic. He isn't having any of this nonsense right now.
Zork just looks confused. Zork don't get.
"Ah, you don't have to get it, lad. Ah, come over here. You'll be able to sharpen up in no time."
Yep, I'll do that then.
Okay, and with that, Zark is over here. So Nighthill continues to look over the map, and those are the only two locations that he can think of where sort of like where large groups of people would be likely to gather. Okay, and with that, is there anything that you want to say to him before he continues? Nighthill kind of
Did you
clocks
make
an
a
eye
lot of
about.
noise
What was
once
it?
we've gone?
Are you asking Nighthill if you'll make a lot of noise, sorry?
Yes. Just to
Uh,
draw their attention to here and away from us as we make our efforts to go and find people.
yes, I do believe that can be arranged. In fact, I could probably do you one better than that. Nighthill calls a guard down and says, "Go and fetch some fire arrows from the sally port." The guard runs away for a moment, and he comes back with a bundle of fire arrows, and Nighthill gives him a nod, and and this guard distributes them to the several archers on the wall. Said, "I'd probably say that that would be sufficient." Kind of talking to Arthur.
Excellent.
Okay, so
Right.
so
So everyone.
so Governor Nighthill at this point will say, "I understand that your struggle to get here must have been great. You can feel free to take a short reprieve here, but I wouldn't tarry long. I would say to leave within the hour."
I believe we are ready to go.
Very good.
Looking at the others.
I hear him say that when I'm way over here.
I would say that we're talking loud enough that you can hear what's going on. I think at this point, how long would it take you to sharpen your axe? I'd probably say you've been doing that for a few minutes. So once you finish doing that, Castilian will kind of walk back over with Zark, and he'll just say to Arthur, or actually no, he'll say to Zark because he gave him the keys. Okay, so you want to be. What, sorry?
Gave them to me.
Did he give him to you? Castellan's got short-term memory loss, it seems. Too much to drink. He'll walk over to Arthur then, and he'll just motion
Not
to...
racist.
I don't know. Maybe. It's my fantasy universe. This is the first one you've seen, so... I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So, Castellan will motion to the key on the far right of the chain for one to use, and he'll just say, "You might want to take the others with you, just in case you see any. There should be a key to all the major structures on there. Governor Nighthill has me inspect them every once in a while."
Excellent, thank you.
Ah,
Do you know which one is for the temple in particular?
For the temple, he considers for a moment, and he points to the key second from the left. I should probably note there's about 6 keys on there.
Okay.
Do I get a bonus for sharpening my axe?
I can't remember what the bonus for Westerners is. If you give me a moment, let me just.
There isn't one.
I don't
Nah,
think
it
there is.
sounds a
You
hungry.
didn't get a loss for getting it stuck in the wall, so
Nah. In fact, what did you do for whetstones in your campaign, Doom?
I gave for that day the weapon would have +1 to attack and damage.
I mean, I said that Castilian would give him a couple, so he does give Zark a couple of those items then.
I also gave a specific amount of charges per whetstone.
Five.
5. That was it. Thank you.
Okay.
One charge per weapon.
So it's +1 to attack and +1 to damage.
I specifically spend time sharpening with it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
for that day.
just make a note of that then, Zark.
Righty then.
Castilian's given you 2 of those.
Will do.
Okay. Before you guys continue, are you still good to go for longer?
I think that would probably be a point.
Good point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a point where I'd say it to end.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted
Yeah.
to check.
I
Just.
mean, we can move towards where we are going down, but
I would say that you guys move down towards the old tunnel, which you're able to get into without any issue. But I'll say that we aren't now.
Alright
Yeah.
then.
Yay!
Okay. Let me just have a quick look here. So let's see. What are you on at the moment? So I would say for getting to the keep, everyone gets 300 XP.
Yay.
Ooh.
And that includes all the killing we did?
Yeah, I'd probably say that includes the killing we did. So,
You realise you gave a bit too much the first time.
yeah, I did. That is
Mhm.
basically that is the reason. But I'm going to give you something for your efforts.
I like things.
Yay, things.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and for anyone who is still here. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself. I hope the players have enjoyed themselves, maybe a little bit more than last time, or maybe they enjoyed themselves less. Who knows? I'll have to ask them later. But anyway, before this goes on for much longer, I'll say goodbye from me and goodbye from everyone else, and we will hopefully see you
Bye-bye.
at the same time next week.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.